Today, somebody phoned me about that Fabring, and he said he's listening to it in increments, and he came to the story. The story, it's not from my own memory. Memory can play games with you, and especially its third or fourth hand, but the story I heard from Rabbi Tali Lowenthal, that he heard or he read, that Rabbi Label Grona, in the 1940s, in the tough shins, was preparing a maimah. He was a bacha, and together with Rabbi Schusterman, they were maybe typing or preparing a maimah of the Frierdiker Rebbe to be able to give it to the Olam to send out before Pesach. And it was the 13th of Nisan. And his mother somehow rang 770. Maybe they already had the public phone, or sent a message, are you coming home? Should we expect you today? It's almost Orla Abba also. And he was doing the Maimah. Anyway, the Rebbe came downstairs from being by the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he told the Rebbe this story that his mother called up, and the Rebbe said, I was just by the Shver, and he asked me, is it really realistic that it's going to come out before Pesach, this Maimah? And the Rebbe said there's two Bachrim working on it. And so Frierdiker Rebbe said a very strong Yasha Koyach. And the Rebbe said, for Yasha Koyach of the Rebbe, everything is worth it. So the person phoned me today and contrasted it with a normal Haredi home, a normal Frum home. The night of Orla Avosa, everyone's home. Everyone's focused there. Last minute scrubbing or washing or sweeping or vacuum, whatever that has to be done, or something, or being preparing for the Seder. And in Chabad, and in contrast, there's a very large number, hundreds, maybe thousands, that are going to different cities to make a Seder Tziburi and to help other people. And he was admiring it. His own family is doing that. But just looking for oisius, for language, to be able to appreciate the contrast. So I was thinking of 3 levels of how to understand and how to appreciate it. Level number 1, taking the story at face value, that it's 100% accurate. It reminds me of a story that I heard from Rabbi Grona about almost 40 years ago, that there was a group Yechidus that used to take place before, till Tavshin Lamed, I think they stopped it then, but there was groups, sometimes it was classes, Montreal, Boston, from Chabad schools, or it was students from Hillel or from university groups, Penn State. I remember that one in Tavshin Chav Beis. So there was a group of students in the early Tavshin Yud, 1950s. And the Rebbe spoke, and then they had questions and about Chabad, Hasidus, and a young lady asked a question of the Rebbe. She said she had some neighbor, a friend, a Lubavitch person, or a Chassid of some sort, and the father of the house would go Yom Tiv to his Rebbe. And isn't that somehow reducing the Simchas HaChag in the family, in the home itself? The Rebbe asked her, what does your father do for a living? And she said, he's like works for, selling a certain product, he works for a company and he travels. And does he travel often? The Rebbe said, he said, yeah. And the Rebbe said, is that considered a difficulty at home? Are they okay with it? She said, we're very happy because we're able to lead a relatively affluent lifestyle. It means he's doing business as a result. So the Rebbe said that in Ruchnius, spiritually, a person who goes to his Rebbe and Yom Tiv, he gets a tremendous wealth which benefits the family that are there at home, and that in itself is reflected also in the material world, in physical and material well-being and emotional health and all other levels. So when a person is doing all of these pu'ulas, it's not something which is apart from the family. That's point number one. Point number two, it's who are you doing it for? The person that's at home on Yud Gimel Nissen, one of the children that might be told, hey, you got to go to the airport and pick up Uncle Yankel or somebody, or a Einikul or child, or you have to go down to Borough Park and to the Gemach for cribs or for playpens or something because Einikul are coming and we already have an empty nest. And there are all different types of jobs and they're being done for members of your family. The Rebbe has taught us how to look at every Jew as our family, and on the contrary, the people who don't have the facilities without somebody coming there to help them make the Seder or whatever, those people are the members of the family who need it. And it becomes even a greater experience in terms of the Yom Tiv, in the whole picture. I heard once a word from my Eidim, Rabbi Yosef Lipsker. They said, what kind of a blessing is Ufaratzta? Hashem is saying to the Bnei Yisrael, you're going to be spread out all over. It means your children will be scattered all over the globe. What about togetherness? And he worked it out that if a person is very comfortable, they have a house. If they live in one room, it might be very cramped, but at least it's happy. But imagine someone is a gvir and they live in a big house, in a mansion, in a whole area. So the Rebbe taught us that the whole world, the whole Ufaratzta, that's us. It's not far away. This is once you see that person as yours, as part of it all, then the activities that one does is part of the whole family in Pasha Pigashmias. And on a deeper level, the third level, it's every mitzvah that you do. There's certainly a reward, and there's Gan Eden, there's Chai Olamis, everything else. But in Chabad, the Rebbe trained us and trains us to see it, the mitzvah, in terms of this is what Hashem wants. Dira b'tachtonim. It's not where I am going to gain something from it. It's doing it because that's what Hashem wants. If you look in the Maimah, B'yom Ashtei Asar Yom, the Yud Aleph night, Nosif Malka, where the Rebbe, in very powerful Oisius, in the later part of the Maimah, speaks about the fact of doing mitzvahs, not because of any, forget about the material reward, but not even for any spiritual reward, but in order to do what Hashem wants, that relationship, that satisfaction, that this is what Hashem wants in the world, is something that gives the greatest satisfaction. Hashem should help that everyone should have Afreilichen Yud Aleph Nissen, and Akosha and Afreilichen Pesach. And we should meet at good occasions, as Galus Mashiach Tzidkenu B'Kodev Mamash.